I believe with being forthright in his thinking, with being proactive in the things that he's doing to keep the community safe, to make sure that we're moving forward. And so I want to talk about that a little bit this morning as we're moving forward. Just recapping again, when we first started with COVID, the mayor was, the first to say, hey, let's, we need to engage some curfews here. We need to, we had our work from home. We were just really trailblazing here in the city with the things that we were doing, and that hasn't stopped. Even most recently, with our state of emergency, with some of the violence that's happening. There was a huge press conference yesterday. Chief Green and our fire chief and some others, Santino, our councilman, and just some local clergy that were here at City Hall yesterday, standing with the mayor as he released that state of emergency. Again, being proactive in his thinking. And so we have our chief again on the line with us this morning, and I believe he is on location with PAL today. Is that correct, Chief Green?
Yes, that's correct. I'll be with Flint PAL program that's partnered with NFL flag football youth league for age 16 and 13.
Awesome. Now, where is that taking place today, Chief?
Iroquois Park, located on Iroquois Avenue, Rankin Street, in the City of Flint.
Okay. Now, let's talk a little bit about the PAL program and how do you think that helps with our youth and the things that we're facing here with just, again, engaging positive things for our youth and our community as a whole?
Well, it does two things for the police department. It bridges the gap between the police department and the community, and it allows us to touch the youth of our community and give them a different perspective of what being a police officer is all about. Their interaction with the police department is positive, 100% positive. Versus when the police officers are in conducting their normal duties, like placing people under arrest or responding to calls. This is 100% positive. It puts a positive light on the police officers, and also allows the police officers to know these youth in the community.
Yeah, establishing relationships, I think, is vital and key with that. The other thing that I would like to say that was 100% positive that I got a glimpse of, you did some reading to some young people in our community over at Bethel this past week, and they were laughing and dancing, and you were right in the mix with them, Chief. So Dr. Reynolds told me to ask you this morning if you're going to be dancing today again.
No, they put the spirit in me. Usually, I'm not a dancer, but they brought it out in me. I don't know how great I did, but I enjoyed my time there. The counselors there, all the staff, and they had those kids full of energy. I hadn't heard of that program, and I really enjoyed myself. And there was about 30 kids there, and that was 100% positive. I enjoyed myself.
That's good. That's good. It's good to see that partnership. And again, that is just one example of the things that are happening in the community, the positive things that are happening. And I definitely commend you, Chief Green, with being active in those things. And it is key for our young people to see the true value of the role of our police officers, that they are here. The commission and the mandate is to protect and serve. And so having those relationships and that level of trust is vital to move, forward in a good direction. Dr. Reynolds, you've been, Dr. Furholden, you've been working with our community with the name of the organization, our community group that's talking about violence in our community.
So that's our Flint Community Task Force on Public Safety.
Okay. How are things going with that?
It's going fantastic. I mean, we've got, a great police chief. We've got a great mayor. We've got really active community members who've come forward. They said, these are the things that we want. I really appreciate that Mayor Neely has been receptive and open to hearing those things. Chief Green has been open to hearing those things. We were all pretty surprised when the mayor came up pretty early and said that he was going to implement the body cams. That was something that we wanted. It's really great as a public health person to have, leaders in this sector who understand that it's not just about safety. It's also about protect. It's not just about um, protecting. It's also about service. And many of the things that involve people that have public safety contacts, whether it be contacts with police or fire, oftentimes fall in the public health space. It's mental health. It's family disputes. It's unmet social work needs and things like that. So there's a whole lot of great stuff that I think that is happening that acknowledges what the real problems are and is putting in solutions that actually match the problems. So do we need more officers? Yes, that was something that we, as a community and as a committee, also came up with. And this was a process that had a lot of public feedback. But we didn't want just more officers. We also wanted more resources for the police department. We want social workers to be able to engage with community members. We want police to be well trained and have the kind of de-escalation techniques and the training around mental health and psychological first aid and all of those things. So it's just, to me, it's a really, really exciting time. And I think it's a real opportunity from us to move from some of what we've had in the past, which may have been over policing,
right,
to something that really is more evidence informed, community driven, and community oriented. So I'm excited.
Yeah, when you were sharing those things, it reminded me yesterday in the press conference that the mayor spoke about how, when our police department arrives to a scene, there are so many needs that, that in just that one scenario, like, there, you may need clergy, you may need social work, you may need, there are just a lot of dynamics that happen just in one scenario. And so,
Yeah.
Chief Green, with this emergency that has been declared by the mayor, this is going to help open up some additional resources for the police department and what we're doing. How do you feel about that moving forward, and what's your expectation?
I wouldn't say a great idea. It's definitely going to enhance the police department's capability due to the fact more stakeholders will be involved. Social workers, as Dr. Burholden stated, mental health experts, a lot of areas that the police department have been dependent upon as far as providing if you're not trained or those types of individuals. So I hope that it looks the way it's designed, is to, if they're activated, we have every aspect covered to cover a crisis.
Well, it's definitely, as Dr. Verhoeven mentioned, an exciting time. Good things are happening. We continue to press forward and just to see everyone come together and do the work, that's needed. It's essential. It's not what I see and I appreciate over the last several months of working with this administration and just being involved in various aspects is that there's no passing the buck. It's like, hey, we are in this together, and how do we work together to solve some of the things that we are faced with. And then, of course, having coming out of a pandemic and then being faced now with this new Delta variant that we are hearing that is now in Genesee County. It's again like you're just as excited as you are to move forward and to engage in new things and see things happening. It's almost like you're walking on eggshells. It's like you're waiting for the shoe to drop, right? Like, what's going to happen. And so, Dr. Reynolds, can you speak to the variant a little bit and how we move forward with some confidence, but just being aware as well?
Yes. And I'd like to just push back against one expression everybody's using, coming out of the pandemic. We are not coming out of it. This
Correction.
is a worldwide pandemic. It is not over. We don't know everything we need to know because things are changing so rapidly, as you said. So Dr. Verhoeven and I always tell people, what we tell you today, as we learn more, may be different tomorrow.
Okay.
And that's what happened with these variants. The virus changes. Some of those changes are minor and insignificant. But if you get enough combination of those changes in the virus, it can change how it works in human beings and how it causes diseases. And this Delta variant is more transmissible. In other words, it spreads quickly. The earlier variant spread quickly, but what we're seeing now is this is the quickest spreading that we have right now. And I also warn people, we like to talk about when we were naming them after their place of origin, we talk about the Indian variant, the Brazil variant, and I warn people, look, we can get a Flint variant. And so we have to be real about this. And the bottom line, the foundation is prevention and protection by vaccination. And I urge everybody who's not vaccinated to start your vaccination now, because it's 3 to 4 weeks if you get the Moderna or the Pfizer vaccine, and then it's 2 weeks after the vaccination before you get full protection. For Johnson & Johnson, even though it's a one shot, it's still 2 weeks after the vaccine before you get full protection. So if you and your children 12 and over have not been vaccinated, it's most important that you do it as soon as possible, because school is starting and we get vaccinated to protect ourselves, our children, and others around us. And so now we can talk more about the transmissibility. We do know that because it spreads so easily, it does increase the number of people who will get sick. It does increase the number of people who will go to the emergency room. It does increase the number of people who will be hospitalized. We don't know right now if it will increase the number of deaths, but I guarantee you, who wants to be sick? Who wants to be in a hospital when your family can't visit you? No one should want to be in that position. So we have to act and get vaccinated. And what I tell people is, if you have children in the house under 12 who are not vaccinated, if you have people who are unvaccinated, if you have people who have immunosuppression, they have a condition that weakens their immune system, or if they've had an organ transplant, wear a mask. And what I do and what I recommend is what the American Academy of Pediatrics says: all children should wear masks when they return to school. And I will tell you, as adults, children look to us for their examples. And it's hard to tell a 9-year-old or a 4-year-old wear a mask when we won't, or we don't. So I put on my mask whenever I enter a store, a church, an office building, and if I enter a school when they reopen. And I do that so I model the behavior that our children need to see. And, as one song said, act your age and not your shoe size.
Was that Prince?
You got it.
Wow. So, okay. So now I have a new, and thank you for that. It's not that we're coming out of a pandemic. We are learning how to manage, I guess, in the midst of a pandemic, right? So where, and either anyone can speak to this, where's the balance? Because I understand and I believe, and of course we're on WFOT, a Christian broadcasting station, and I'm a believer. And the scripture tells us that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of a spirit of power, might, and a sound mind. But this whole COVID thing, and just seeing how it has affected our community, and now it's this Delta variant, and it's like, okay, you have to just stand. You're believing God for peace and protection. So how do we continue to to manage just what's your recommendation? I mean, and I believe me, I heard you, Dr. Reynolds, in terms of wearing the mask and being an example, and getting vaccinated. but it just still, it's a lot to manage. Like you, because inside, I think in myself and everyone, you're just hoping for the day when it's over. But I don't. It doesn't sound like that's what we're gonna experience, or when will we ever? And if not, how do we begin to receive that? Okay, this is life now as we know it, and as we do it.
So now you're going to bring out the Sunday school teacher in me. See, the word says that we will have trials in life, but we are overcomers, and that is it. We will get through this. And the other key message, and I'll keep it short, is the Bible tells us to love our neighbors as ourselves. And wasn't that the second greatest commandment in the New Testament? And we love our neighbors by doing things to show that we care for them as much, if not more, than we care for ourselves. And that's by getting vaccinated, wearing a mask, encouraging people to get vaccinated, because they also say, united we stand, divided we fall. And we have to be united in love and faith that we will get through this trial. And I've done my Sunday school lesson for the day.
Well, amen.
Oh, no, I lied. Then, if you all recall in Matthew, they talk about the devil coming to tempt Jesus and telling him to jump off this high mountain, right? And he said, and God will send angels to catch you up. And what did Jesus say?
Yeah, not
Jesus
to tempt God.
said that God is not mocked. So, and you will not take his name in vain. So we don't do things and say God will take care of it. Of course we know he will take care of it. But we do not do foolish things not based on the truth, faith, and knowledge.
Okay, well that's peace. I mean that offers peace and definitely hope to us as we continue just to trust. Again, trust the information that we're getting. Which people struggle with, and I get that. I meet people all the time who battle with what's real and what's not, and what's true and what to trust. But at the end of the day, you know, my dear friends since fifth grade. Was one the young lady selected in the one shot and who received the cash reward. And in her remarks to the press, she's like, to me, this is like the most unselfish thing that anyone can do. You're not just thinking about yourself, but you're thinking about, others around you. And that for me, that was, and that's what I tell people when they question me about the, being vaccinated and, what did you do and how did you feel about it? At the end of the day, even if I wrestled with understanding it all or the science of it all, I didn't wrestle with wanting to be making sure that my mother, my father, my grandmother, people that I love were good. And so, again, being unselfish, if this is going to help me be good and everybody I love be good, then I'm just going to trust God. Then all will be well. And so that is definitely a way of moving forward, a way of relying. And then, of course, we stand on the word and we know that God uses medicine. God uses doctors and physicians and, specialists to help us in various situations. And so, again, as a community, as we find our way, as we continue to navigate through this pandemic, not Dr. Reynolds corrected me, and I get it. We are not out of it, but as we navigate through it, it's the togetherness. It's the continuing, like Nehemiah, to build and fight, to build and pray, to build and protect. And so this is a way that we continue to do that. And as we kind of talk about building, there are a lot of new things that are happening in our city. Things are uh, groundbreaking things that are happening in new businesses and economic development. Our economic developer here in the mayor's office, Kafani Stevens, has been working diligently with the mayor to bring businesses in the community and showcase Flint as a place where people can come and add to our community and partake in. There are a lot of great resources here, human resources, our colleges, our schools, universities, our training facilities. There are a lot of great resources here in the city. And so just recently, we celebrated Ashley Home Stores opening up on Lapeer Road. They had a great grand opening out there and a beautiful facility over there. So again, the opening up of the children's GHS Center for Children right here on Saginaw Street. So even in the midst of things happening, us facing difficulties, there are good things happening. Dr. Verholden, can you speak to how you personally have just navigated and, with your family, balancing, working through, doing life through the pandemic?
Well, I've basically taken over our entire home. I feel for my kids. I got big whiteboards and Post-it notes on the wall everywhere. I have 4 workstations set up in the house because we all need that. But it's been interesting. And, working with Dr. Reynolds on a lot of this stuff and trying to put public health first has been probably the most exciting, but also the most challenging, because as my brother says, make sure you drink that same Kool-Aid you're serving. Mm-hmm. So we've really tried to model the behavior. And I did share this with people. My daughter actually contracted COVID. And it's interesting because we had protocols even in our house and when we were at the height of the pandemic because, I just said we have to keep each other safe, even from each other. Mm-hmm. And I found it really interesting that she actually contracted COVID and nobody else in the house did. But that's because we have protocols even in the house. And it's interesting because it didn't include not touching each other. The hardest thing in my world was not physically touching people, not hugging people, not kissing people, not, being able to see people. So then to have these 3 people in the house and not feel even comfortable being, because literally we were all that each other had, mm-hmm. At that time. But we made it through. And like I said, we did things that supported each other as a family, but then also protected each other as a family. So this notion when the vaccine came out, I was the first one to get vaccinated. I was the first one that had an opportunity to get vaccinated, and I took it. And then my daughter and my son said, we're getting vaccinated for our older sister. My daughter was pregnant, and she early on was a no. She said, I don't want to get the vaccine. I haven't seen enough or heard enough about the impact on infants and, neonatal development, so I'm a no. So her younger brother and sister decided to get vaccinated to put that hedge of protection around her. Mm-hmm. So for them, it was like a no-brainer. Like, if Jordan can't get vaccinated, we all have to. Right. Or if she's not confident or she's not comfortable. And now our entire family is vaccinated. And I do want to make this point to families and especially women who are pregnant and considering the vaccine. There's good data now. The vaccine does not cross the placenta. The vaccine does not. Mm-hmm. The virus does. So if you get COVID, your baby will get COVID. And we've seen in Brazil a lot of babies who died in utero because their moms got COVID. But you know what does pass the placenta as well as the virus? The antibodies that you build. Mm. So if a pregnant mom gets vaccinated, mm-hmm. she will build antibodies. The vaccine will not go to the baby, but the antibodies that mom builds will. Mm-hmm. So your baby will be born with COVID antibodies. Wow. Why wouldn't you want to give that gift to your unborn child? So I say, let's do like your friend said who won the sweepstakes. Let's take this unselfish act. Let's continue to look out for one another and really be driven by good science and good information. That's awesome. What a powerful statement as we close out the first half of our time together today. Thank you so much, listening audience, for joining us there at WFLT. You can continue to gain more good information joining us live on Facebook as we continue our broadcast. Have a great day. We'll be back talking to you soon. Thank you for tuning in to the community.
Okay, let's continue on. When you were sharing that information, Dr. Verhoeven, about the antibodies passing on to the baby, that's like so exciting. Like it gave me goosebumps. That because I didn't know that. I didn't
Yeah.
know that information.
And a lot of people don't. And they hear things like there's been some debates around if the vaccine impacts fertility and some other things. And I know it's a tough season for people because they're trying to navigate and wade through a lot of information. And a lot of that information is bad information or misinformation, and I respect where people are. I'm not trying to convince anybody to do anything. I'm not trying to deal with people's emotional preparedness or intellectual preparedness for these conversations. What I do is I get information, and to the best of my ability, I vet that information and I try to give it away to others so that people can make informed decisions.
That's good.
Like that's is all
you can do.
That is all. Yeah, but these are facts, and it's unfortunate because a lot of times I have to contend with a lot of fiction that people will put forward as facts, but it's not in fact. It's grounded in truth. It's hyperbole. It's something that somebody heard somewhere. It's something that somebody called Dr. So-and-so, but is really not a medical doctor or immunologist or virologist or whatever, got from somewhere. And so, again,
public health specialist.
It's just people just
sharing information.
And because you have a social media following doesn't mean that you're credible.
Right.
Just because other people listen to you doesn't mean that you're credible. And what's funny is it's like how a rumor goes. If I tell somebody, oh, Vanessa's purple, and enough people share that information, people will hear it and say, yeah, my cousin told me that too, or my so-and-so said that, not realizing that it's same source, bad information.
Right.
It was all sourced from me starting this thing saying Vanessa's purple, and it's not true. But enough people will say it, and then people start to believe it. And so, we keep doing the work. And I have a lot of empathy for people because I do realize it's a lot of information to navigate. But we're going to do our best to make sure that they are coming from fact, not fiction.
Yeah. And for me, I mean, my grandson, my youngest grandchild, just turned a year old. April 30th. Forgive me if I'm wrong, daughter. But so she had him during COVID, and she was just like, what do I do? She's like, I don't want to go to the hospital. I don't know what's going to happen to me and my baby during COVID in the hospital. So she literally, had her baby at home. It was like the most incredible thing I ever seen. I'm like, are you sure? Are you serious? Can you do that? And she's like, Ma, I don't have a choice. So they bought all the birthing stuff. She had a big pool, and she got a midwife. And in the middle of their apartment, in the living room, my daughter, like, she's in the pool, and all of a sudden this little baby bounces up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he just had a baby in the living room. But, again, not knowing, like, okay, what do I do? So knowing that, now that mothers can protect themselves and their babies, that it is, has been, proven out. But a year ago, she's like, what? I don't know what to do. Like, I feel like I'm being punished, being pregnant during COVID.
Sure.
So she had a healthy baby. Everything went great. My grandson Liam is walking around and wreaking havoc through the household. But it was just amazing. I'm like, girl, I don't know where you get that strength from.
Don't you think, though, she would have liked to know you can give your baby COVID antibodies?
Absolutely.
And you know what? It's funny because my daughter, again, she's doing just over 4 weeks, had to get a pertussis vaccine, and so did I, right? It's whooping cough.
Okay.
And that can be deadly and fatal for infants. And so my daughter got one, and I don't remember exactly how many weeks pregnant she was when she got it. And the doctor said, oh, that's, we want to, protect you, but we also want baby to get those antibodies as early as possible. It's evidently there's so many things that we as a society don't have to live with because we've got good medicine, we've got vaccines and immunizations and things like that have just made it a non-starter. We just don't even think about the plague and measles. We just, because it's, smallpox. We don't think about this kind of stuff, and so, again, I think this information is power, and for people to know it, and bravo to your daughter that she was able to make a decision that really worked for her. But I do know that there are a lot of people who've been ruled by fear during this. And a lot of that fear is because they either don't know or what they know isn't accurate.
Right.
And it's been fear inducing.
Right.
And we've not, the goal here is not to instill fear. You know, to me, when I don't know, that's scary.
Right.
When I have no clue, you know, we want to give people good knowledge and have them be empowered by that knowledge and be able to make choices for themselves based on that knowledge. You know, so, but yeah, your daughter's a trooper.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was amazing to me. But again, knowing that now that, you know, mothers don't have to be, you know, concerned or have that level of discomfort, you know, not knowing what's going to happen, you know, to my child, that the antibodies will pass through to the babies, that's phenomenal to me.
Yeah.
So again, sharing good information is vital to our continued success as we navigate through this pandemic. I don't want to forget to mention, as we talk about health and safety in our community, that on City Hall, like probably some other people in the city, we had a power outage. And so because of that, we weren't able to finish taking all of the applicants for individuals to opt into the service line replacement program. So due to that, we're going to continue that through Monday, July 26th. So you can still call on Monday if you weren't able to reach us here at City Hall because of that power outage, and you do want to opt in for the service line replacement. It is not too late to do that. So I didn't get that in on the broadcast, but hopefully we can continue to get that information out, and people can just call in and we can take care of that for you. That service line replacement piece has been huge. Restoration continues to be something that we're navigating here at City Hall, but we're gonna find a way and get it all done. Another great thing that happened this week, U of M Flint is offering residents access to a college degree as an investment in their future. There's a partnership here with GST and U of M, and so we had a press conference here at City Hall, just making education more accessible for people. And again, based upon everything that we've been dealing with, that's one less thing that we have to have the weight with. We're trying to make that more accessible and easily for you. So feel free to reach out to GST or U of M to gain more information about that. Again, with the economic piece, the City of Flint has assisted over 20 small businesses with workforce and financial resources. With that has come through securing grants for small businesses, and again, working with our economic development team. So don't think that there isn't assistance available. There are things going on. Make sure that you continue to frequent our City of Flint website, our page, because there's a lot of resources that continue to be shared and updated. As Dr. Reynolds mentioned earlier, and Dr. Verholden, as we gain new information and insight, you know, we try to put it out and share it to the best of our ability. So make sure that you're in the loop to get that. I don't know if we still have Chief Green with us. I know that you have the event today. Chief Green, are you still on the line with us?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you for hanging in with us, Chief. I appreciate that. Any additional things any updates or things from the police department or any thing that you want to share with the community while we still have you on the line?
So I would just like to add, we're continuing to be proactive in we refer to our assault on violent crime in the City of Flint, but also we are just as important as our community engagement, our community initiatives. So those working hand in hand. We've been very aggressive with both of those aspects of law enforcement, because both are equally important.
Okay, can you
community-based groups such as the Man Up program, Returning Citizens, Navy, organizations like that. So we feel that's definitely important. As well as we spoke about our CAL program. We'll open up our mini stations, our community centers, so individuals in the community can have a direct contact with law enforcement through one of our mini stations or our community service centers.
Yeah, I'm so excited about the community mini stations opening up. I think that's going to mean so much to our neighborhoods. Again, having police in the community, that was a big deal early on when they first opened up. And just to see those buildings kind of sitting over the years, it was, kind of, it was rough just to see that not being activated and used. But with where we are now, with the approach that the mayor is taking in working with you, Chief, to secure our community, those mini stations are going to be a great asset to that. So we're looking forward to announcing those openings and getting the community engaged with the mini stations. So that's awesome. That's really good news. Thank you for sharing that. Dr. Reynolds, any additional updates or information you want to share with us? And I don't know if I thank you so much for being on today. I appreciate it.
Before the chief goes, I'm going to tell on him because while he was at this program for the children, the little boy asked, "Do police officers help people?" And children are looking for answers, and the chief answered him. But you see, this is what we have to get across to our children, especially when they're young and youth. And I'm talking to you as the son of a police officer and the brother of a police officer. It's not always about grabbing somebody. And I just want to thank the chief for being there and answering that question for that child.
That's good stuff. Thank you so much, Dr. Reynolds. That's awesome.
And then I'll get back to the doctor stuff. And I'm sitting here with my 92-year-old mother, who is a retired public health nurse, visiting nurse, substance abuse nurse, and rehab nurse. And she worked at Detroit Rehab and took care of spinal cord injuries in young people due to gunshot wounds.
Wow.
And so people think, someone shoots a gun, someone dies, and it's all over. But for every one of those deaths, there are several injuries where someone is impaired for life and it affects the family. So secure your weapons, lock them up, keep your ammo separate from your weapon, because we must protect our families and our children by prevention. And here I go with prevention again. And that comes back to booster shots. Dr. Verhoeven did not mention, so I'll out her. She said, we got our pertussis vaccine. Yes, she got a pertussis booster because it was so long ago before she got her first series of vaccines. And what a booster does is what it says. It boosts your immunity. So there are many of us adults in the community who need to go out and get our tetanus, pertussis, booster shot. And you can go to any Walgreens, you can go to the health department, you may be able to get it at your doctor's office, and I'm overdue for mine. And keep in mind, flu season is coming, and it's time for us to get ready to get our influenza vaccine. And the health department will start announcing it, the drugstores will start announcing it. Don't hesitate. We don't need another problem. And I'll talk about another entertainer who says I got 99 problems, and I'll say, you don't need another one. And this is why we get immunized. So get ready to get your flu shot. Make sure your children's immunizations are up to date. Yes, you can have your children immunized for other things along with the COVID-19 vaccine if they're eligible. That means if they're over age 12. So we always have to keep the big picture in mind. And yes, it is complicated, but what I tell our parents who are under 50 or under 40, all the diseases we're talking about and getting vaccinated against, you did not see because we got vaccinated. And I've said it before, my mother was a infectious disease hospital ward nurse during the polio epidemic in New York City in the 50s. And why don't we see polio? Because we got the polio vaccine, and it was improved over years. Used to be the sugar cube with the live virus. Now it's an injection with an inactivated virus. But these are the keys. Prevention is the key to protecting our families and our community.
Thank you so much, Dr. Reynolds. What a blessing to have your mom, and we thank God for her and the work that she's done over the years, and what a fine job she's done with you. And you've passed on that legacy of health, being a healthcare provider to you as well, and working with those patients of gun violence. Um, that's one of the things that that Mayor Neely mentioned also at the press conference, was that the guns that we take off of the streets, that we're not doing gun buybacks, and that those guns will be destroyed. They won't find their way back into our communities, because as we get those weapons off the street, they will stay off the street. And so, Chief, I'm sure that the officers that you work with and you yourself can understand the value and the importance of keeping those weapons, that we get off the street, to keep them off the streets. Okay.
Yes, I agree.
Thank you, Chief. What we saw at time on the broadcast this morning.
I want just folks to stay safe, and get out and move their arms and legs. If I could ask people to do one thing, get out and go move your arms and legs. Go out in your neighborhood, go for a walk for 30 minutes. Wipe your windows in your house, put them up, wipe them down, mop the floor. People got to get moving. I noticed there's the other COVID-19, which is the 19, 20 pounds many of us gained sitting around during COVID. I'm guilty as charged too. So really, everybody get moving. It's beautiful Michigan weather, and we got lots of opportunities to take the reins of our health. So I know that seems obscure, but I really mean that. I really want people to be mindful about, taking care of themselves socially and spiritually, emotionally, but also physically, and just get out and move those arms and legs.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good advice. After being shut in for so long, and being stuck in the house, and my heart really goes out to. I didn't think about it. I was talking to a friend of mine who's single, no children, and she's like, people don't realize how difficult the pandemic were for people that were single with no kids, because people that either were married with families or just single with children, there was so much to do, just in making sure that your own family was good. You're doing school, you're trying to navigate, being in the house and taking care of everyone. That you forget about those single friends who are just locked in the house by themselves. And so I was just like, wow, okay, yeah, I get that. And so just that, making sure that our mental that mental piece is in place. Good exercise, moving around, getting out, taking in the fresh air. It's a part of that part of just clearing your head is so important. So take that again, as Dr. Farona said, not as just something flippant that she said, but let's do it. And we are in, as you mentioned, the beautiful state of Michigan. Our downtown area here in the city is looking great. I've noticed, I don't know if many of you have, but just the murals that are going up in the city are just beautiful. They are phenomenal. I hadn't got out much. Even like the kickoff to me during our Juneteenth time, to see, first of all, again, shout out to our mayor for making that a holiday here in the city of Flint last year. Then, of course, it was done, our government recognized that this year. But our Juneteenth celebration was so great. And just to see people out and moving and walking in the city of Flint, the vendors out, and of course the fireworks, and just, downtown was alive, and it was beautiful to see that. And then, of course, Commissioner Nolden at our Burston Fieldhouse on the 4th, there was, the carnival and the concert there, and families were out enjoying that. And just, having a good time. And it just reminded me of, for me, the heydays of Flint, and just being out and about and just enjoying community and family and friends. And so that is something that we can continue to do during this pandemic, using wisdom and making sure that we're safe, but just doing that in a way where we're taking care of ourselves. And don't forget to check on those individuals that you love and that you care about, to make sure that they are well also. It has been a lot to deal with, a lot to navigate. And as much as we move forward, as much as we see these great things that are happening, like with the groundbreaking of the facility here on Saginaw with GHS, or our Ashley Home Store, and other announcements coming here from the city with businesses coming to town. There are still just the very simple things of just going back to that Sunday school lesson that Dr. Reynolds shared. Just treating people like you want to be treated, loving your neighbor, like yourself. That's all a part of community. And Mayor Neely stands with sharing that unity piece with us, because it takes a village. We're all in this together. And if you are the only one that is has accomplished a level of success or a level of health or well-being, are you really successful? Are you really well? You can measure that by the people that you bring along with you and the other people that you are impacting. And so I think that this broadcast has a unique way of doing that. Dr. Reynolds, Dr. Furhold, and Chief Green, just with the caliber of people that the mayor continues to share the information that he brings forth on the broadcast weekly, just to make sure that we are informed and we have good information. So again, thank all of you for being a part of today's broadcast and what we are sharing. Anybody aware of anything, any updates, any community things that are happening in and around the city that people can get involved with? Any of you?
Well, you gave me an opening, and I will say, take your child to the library. Take yourself to the library. Have a reading time where you sit down with your family, your children, and for at least turn the TV off, turn the radio off, and just read on your own or read to each other. Because once again, knowledge is one of the tools that has been provided for us that we have been overlooking during this pandemic, and we're putting everything on the schools. But school does not end in the classroom. The foundation is at the dinner table, the breakfast table, and we have to also schedule that time for eating around the table with adults, sober adults, so that we can share information to our children, because they are watching and listening to us, and that's how we hear what's on their mind.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Reynolds. Chief Green, if there is a parent or someone wanting to get involved with PAL or get their young person involved with PAL, how do they go about doing that?
All you need to do is go on the website, Flint PAL, and there's contact information on there. They can contact PAL or leave a phone number, and their contact information will return their call.
Awesome. Thank you. Flint PAL. Wonderful. And last but not least, Dr. Furholden, the Community Task Force. Can you give us the information of how people tune into? Are you guys still meeting virtually now?
Yep, we do. We still meet virtually once a month for a public meeting. And I just want to say thank you to all the people who participated in those public meetings and brought their really, I think, great ideas forward. The whole thing about community engagement is it's not about doing something to people or for people or even on their behalf. They didn't elect us. Mm-hmm. It's about doing it with people. And so I just really appreciate all the ideas that people brought forward. People's talked about things like mini stations, which I lived in Flint when I was a teenager. We didn't have mini stations then, but for the people who lived during those times and had those experiences, they know what is possible, right? Mm-hmm. And so anyway, I just want to acknowledge and say thank you to all the people who put their time and attention in to chime in on that process. We meet the third Thursday of every month from 5:30 to 6:30. You can go on our Facebook page and get information about how to join that meeting. It also does go live stream on our Facebook page, but there is a Zoom link where people can actually come into the meeting and talk. And what we've been doing is actually promoting people. So you might come in as a participant, people put questions in the Q&A, and we'll bring them into the meeting so they can actually talk to and interact with the whole panel. Because we really did want it to be that people had a chance to be heard. So I just, say thank you to folks for that, and I invite people to come to that meeting. Third Thursday, 5:30 to 6:30.
Awesome. Another opportunity and another way to get engaged in the community. There are a lot of great things that are happening, a lot of opportunities. That's one thing for sure. In our city there, we do not lack opportunities to support and to help. There is something to do, and some organization, be it faith-based, be it, community oriented, wherever, just get in where you fit in. If I can use take my cue from Dr. Reynolds and use a little lyric there, just get in where you fit in. But find a way to be a service and to engage yourself positively in what's happening. Again, we had several press conferences with all of the things that the mayor is rolling out with the announcement of the state of emergency in the city to combat the gun violence and take a more aggressive approach to keeping our community safe and our children safe. I'm sure that we'll be rolling out more information, and so we'll do our best to continue to keep you abreast. Those things will be shared on our Facebook page, on our website here at the city. So just stay tuned, stay connected, be safe. We hope that you enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'm so excited. I know some people may feel some type of way about the rain, but I'm so happy that it's raining. My flowers look so in desperate need of a good shower. So whatever the rest of the weekend entails for you, enjoy it. Enjoy your time with friends and community, and be blessed. We look forward to talking to you again real soon. Again, thank you so much, Chief Green, Dr. Reynolds, and Dr. Verholden, for bringing the good information and your time that you've shared with us today. Just to share in what's happening in and around our city with the community. God bless you and have a great day.
Thank you.